One of the best things I ever did was when I learned how to turn my limiting beliefs into superpowers. And I have a couple examples that I'll share with you today, so stay tuned. Hi friends, Kathleen here, Chief Wealth Creator and founder of Diamond Academy. We specialize in manifestation, law of attraction, and self-love for impact-driven entrepreneurs. I want to thank you for tuning in, and if you haven't done so already, please click the bell and subscribe so you can get notified of upcoming content throughout the week. What does it mean to take a limiting belief and turn it into a superpower? This is something that I've started doing. I really have become self-aware and have really realized what is it about me that is holding myself back. And I take things about myself that I once thought were negatives and I turn them into positives. The first example that I think of when I think of this for myself is the idea of being sensitive. So for much of my life, people told me that I took things personally, that I was sensitive. And I've always been someone who can connect emotionally and feel things in a powerful way. So I remember watching Oprah and I cried at almost every single episode. If someone said something to hurt my feelings, I would end up in tears. And I really didn't like having people mad at me. It really upset me. And so this feeling of sensitivity, it was always seen as a weakness. When people talked to me about it, when they expressed it towards me, it was like there was something wrong with me. So of course, I started to think that being sensitive was bad, that it was wrong, and that it was a part of me that I should change and I should shift. And so I started to think about what the opposite was, being strong, being powerful, but then I started to think that it would also mean that maybe I'm cold or unemotional and a little less heartfelt, and that didn't feel right. So then I started to think about how could being sensitive be a superpower? And when I started to learn about the power of manifestation and how feeling is the secret, is when I suddenly had an aha moment. The reason that I manifest so quickly and so easily is in the feelings that I hold. So being able to connect emotionally is my superpower. So yes, I am sensitive and I am proud of that sensitivity. And it is no longer something that limits me, but it's something that empowers me. The second thing in my life that was a limiting belief and is now my superpower is being plus size or curvy. And so for much of my life, if you watch some of my other stories, you will see that I talk about lack of self-love, body image issues, and that I was my own worst critic when it came to my appearance. But over the past 2.5 years, I've really asked myself why I'm so hard on me and why I'm so hard on my body. And why did I think because my body was bigger that it wasn't as beautiful and that I wasn't as desirable or attractive? And why did I think that being big would not qualify into business success? And so I turned it into a superpower. So instead of going on a diet and starving myself like I used to, going into deprivation mode, I decided to love myself in the body that I was in and continue to be in. And I started seeing that it was a superpower of mine to be able to achieve success, to love myself, to inspire and empower others in a plus-size body. And this has translated in such a beautiful way because people look to me as an example of what they can do in what I would say the world would call an imperfect body. And so this translates into all areas of people's lives. I'm giving you an example about my emotions. I'm giving you an example about my body. But for some, it's lacking education. Maybe you don't have the right experience. You're too old, you're too young, you're too small, you're too short. You grew up in a rough neighborhood. Whatever that is for you that is a limiting belief, how can you turn it into a superpower? How can it be something that makes you unique, that makes you resilient, that makes you persistent? That makes you an inspiration to others. So I encourage you to let me know in the comments what your superpower is. I don't want to hear the limiting belief, but I want to hear the superpower. With gratitude, Kathleen.